Yeah.
Alright, hold on.
1, 2, 2, 2.
Good night, greetings everybody. We are G-Syndicate, and tonight is vibes as we syndicate you vibes, you know. You're gonna be hearing some songs off our upcoming EP. Things gonna be nice. So right about now, we're starting with this one. Ready to blow? So are you ready to go? So are you ready to go?
Yeah.
Ready to blow, ready to blow. Oh, so let me go.
Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go.
It's time to start the party. Sometimes we be getting dirty. This time we're starting this thing right. Hey, so just kick off your shoes. There's no time to feel the blues. So baby, we gonna do our thing tonight. Oh, leave the work at home, leave the stress alone. Toss away your worries. Ain't got no time for that, baby. Now you got the chance. Lose your fears, just dance. We're gonna rock this party. Just raise your hands if you're ready.
Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go.
It's time for you to be free. Relax, just enjoy the party tonight. We just gonna ease our mind. So just think about the world, 'cause we're not gonna stop at all, and we're just leaving all our fears behind. So leave the work at home, leave the stress alone, toss away your worries. Ain't got no time for that, baby. Now you've got the chance. Lose your fears, just dance. We're gonna rock this party. Just raise your hands if you're ready.
Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go.
Let the music take control. Let it seep into your soul. When the bass line starts pulsating, feel the stress evaporate. Let it bring me to your mind. There could be no better time to get on the floor, 'cause we're just ready to blow. Ready to blow, start up the show. Ladies and gentlemen, Mark on the trombone.
Start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go.
Give it up for Mark, y'all. So let me go.
Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go.
Ready to blow,
ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go.
Yes, folks, good night one more time. We are G-Syndicate. This next song we're going to do for you, you can find it on our upcoming EP called Revive. We released it last year, and we're ready to rock. This one is called Chemistry.
Hey girl. Hey girl. moving. Sweet calico, the honey bar, good looking. The way how you moving, put me in a mood, I'm glad to see you. Your waistline on the baseline, so attractive, I wanna be a captive. I see a smile on your face now, so beautiful, I know you're original.
So come wind up on me, I wanna see if you got good chemistry. And come push back for me, don't hold back, girl, just be free. Now you're not on, show off, show off. You have my attention, girl, you're sweet off. That's why, baby, step out, step out. Just keep it moving, cause we're still grooving. Now you're not on, show off, show off. You have my attention, girl, you're sweet off. That's why, baby, step out, step out. Just keep it moving, cause we're still grooving. We're still grooving. We're still grooving. We're still grooving.
Come talk to me, girl. Classy and intelligent, and you run the world. And let me say face to face. Know you feel the tension, just had to mention. Your brown eyes, shining bright. So gorgeous and glowing like sunlight. I hear your voice, angelic eyes. So amazing, I wanna keep this going.
So come wind up on me, I wanna see if you got good chemistry. And come push back on me, don't hold back, girl, just be free. Allow your dance and show off, show off. You have my attention, girl, you're sweet off. Dance me, baby, step out, step out. Just keep it moving, cause it's still grooving. Allow your dance and show off, show off. You have my attention, girl, you're sweet off. Dance me, baby, step out, step out. Just keep it moving, cause it's still grooving. Still grooving. Still grooving. Still grooving.
Hey, girl, I wanna take you home with me.
And hey, girl, sugar energy, yeah.
Hey, girl, I wanna treat you right, you see, you see, you see.
Hey, just the two of us. We can make it if we try. Just the two of us.
Just the two of us.
Just the two of us. Building castles in the sky. Just the two of us. You and I. What you won't do for love. You try everything, but you won't give up. What you won't do for love. You try everything, but you won't give up. So come wind up on me, I wanna see if you got good chemistry. And come push back on me, don't hold back, girl, just be free. Lower your nuts and show off, show off. You have my attention, girl, you're sweet off. Dance with me, baby, step out, step out. Just keep it moving, come and still moving. Lower your nuts and show off, show off. You have my attention, girl, you're sweet off. Dance with me, baby, step out, step out. Just keep it moving, come and still moving. Lower your nuts and show off, show off. You have my attention, girl, you're sweet off. Dance with me, baby, step out, step out. Just keep it moving, we're still moving. Along you're not touch. Show off, show off. You have my attention. And that's what me, baby. Step out, step out. Just keep it moving, cause we're still grooving. We're still grooving. Still grooving. Still grooving. Yeah.
The next selection is entitled Englishman in New York, a song made famous by Sting in the 80s. Hope you enjoy.
I don't drink coffee, I drink tea mate. I like my toaster on one side. You can hear it in my accent when I talk. I'm an Englishman in New York. See me walking down Fifth Avenue, a walking king here at my side. I take it everywhere I walk. I'm an Englishman in New York. Oh, I'm an alien. I'm a legal alien. I'm an Englishman in New York. Oh, I'm an alien.
I'm a legal alien. I'm an Englishman in New York.
If manners make it man, as someone said, he's a hero of the day. It takes a man to suffer ignorance and smile. Be yourself, no matter what they say.
Oh, I'm an alien. I'm a legal alien. I'm an Englishman in New York.
Englishman in New York.
Oh, I'm an alien. I'm a legal alien. I'm an Englishman in New York.
Modesty's propriety can lead to notoriety. You could end up as the only one. Gentleness, sobriety, all rare in this society. At night a candle's brighter than the sun. In New York, concrete jungle where dreams are made of. There's nothing you can do. In New York, there's more than combat gear to make a man. There's more than a license for a gun. Confront your enemies, avoid them when you can. A gentleman will walk but never run. If manners make it man, and someone said he's a hero of the day. It takes a man to suffer ignorance and strive. Be yourself, no matter what they say.
We know you sing at home.
Oh, I'm an alien. I'm a legal alien. I'm an Englishman in New York. Oh, I'm an alien. I'm a legal alien. I'm an Englishman in New York.
Englishman in New York City.
I'm an alien. I'm a legal alien. I'm an Englishman in New York.
Englishman in New York.
Oh, I'm an alien. I'm a legal alien. I'm an Englishman in New York.
Now, growing up in the 90s, I would have loved these songs. I'm sure those of you that know them will love them as well. So we got two songs coming up for you. We got I Wanna Know by Joe and Someone to Love by John B. and Babyface. Hope you guys enjoy.
It's amazing how you knock me off my feet. Every time you come around me, I get weak. Oh. Nobody ever made me feel this way. No. You kiss my lips and then you take my breath away. So I wanna know what turns you on. Yeah, I wanna know, so I can be all that and more. And I'd like to know what makes you cry. Oh, so I can be the one to always make you smile. Girl, he never understood what you were with. No. And he never took the time to make it work.
Deserve more loving, girl.
Baby, I'm the kind of man who shows consent. Yes, I do. Any way that I can please you, let me learn. So I wanna know what turns you on. Yeah, and I wanna know, so I can be all that and more. And I'd like to know.
Warning. What you are about to hear goes against traditional romantic counsel expressed by friends, family, and Instagram memes and quotes. Open-mindedness is advised.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages, and welcome to another edition of the Senate Podcast. I'm your host, Neil, joined as always by my brother from another mother, and your host, Derek.
Hail.
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 I ain't hearing the horns?
Sorry, man.
Oh, sorry. It's taking out your thing, man.
Yes, sir. My bad, man.
And yeah, my brother, how are you doing? How is life treating you? What's going on?
I am well, man. I am well. I can't complain at all. Here, so in the struggle, as they would say. Enjoying a little bit of vacation. It's going so quickly, but hey, you know, that's how it goes in these times, man. How is everything on your end?
My good, you know, I can't really complain, to be honest. I get a little rest shortly, but I am good. I am all right. I'm all right.
I'm glad to hear that, man.
Yeah, man. So, tell us a bit about G-Syndicate, the dulcet sounds of those guys that sing so sweetly.
Yeah,
Let us
man.
know.
Well, you know, it's always we up to something. And last night we actually did a little bit of recording. We're trying to put together a little music video. So which required the guys being in church. So
I saw something.
Yeah. So yeah, we guys were in church for that, and you know, we were working on that. So shout out the guys, Kioma, Waden, Mark, Brett, and Hugh came last night, put in the work as always. Shout out the Tricks brothers as well. They did some recording for us.
Yes. Shout them out for sure.
Yeah, Grant 246 Productions. So if you got any recordings that you want to get done, hit up those guys. And shout out their dad, Papa Tricks. He celebrates the big 60 today. He wanted me
Papa
to.
Tricks.
Yeah, man. Papa Tricks still running both still scrimmaging. He probably playing the core all now. But 60 today, celebrating with the guys. And he wanted me to do a little bit of MCing. You know, people seem to say talk a lot and talk well. So he wanted me to do a little bit of MCing, but I had to respectfully decline as I'm here with you, my brother. And as I still would say, we're doing the Lord's work. So, yeah, man, I'm here.
All right. Well, we are here. As I told you all, we are here. And, you know, every Tuesdays and Thursdays, we come here on the Senate Podcast at 8 p.m. Barbados time, and we would have a conversation. This is no different. Derek, he has posted something on our social media. Give us a like, a follow on our Facebook page, the Senate Podcast. IG, the Senate Podcast 246. And yeah, he posted something, and today we are talking about too much choice dilemma. Basically, how has social media and dating apps negatively impacted today's dating market? So, my brother, I hand over to you. And let's get this thing cranking.
Yeah, man. I just want to make sure that I got you queued up properly in terms of these, because you know, we don't just come and talk. We make sure we got the articles and the videos to show you guys exactly what we're talking about. And just want to make sure we got them queued up so that you guys, we can just keep the show flowing, and get everything running smoothly, right? So just give us a little sec to get that sorted for you. And yeah, right. But as always, as you come in, hit the like button, hit the share button, the subscribe button. You're listening to Senate Podcast here on YouTube. Hit the notification bell as well. And while you're doing that, you can check out G-Syndicate, gsyndicate6.com. You can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and there's one more I'm missing right here on YouTube. G-Syndicate6 on Instagram, G-Syndicate6, but you have to be able to spell to get that. And you got to spell out the word 6 in order to get all of that information, the good stuff surrounding G-Syndicate, right? Now, I think we are just about ready. Yeah, I think so. So, you ready, my brother?
Are you ready to crank?
All right, well, let me crank then. Tonight is going to be a special night, Neil.
Oh, really? Why is it going to be a special night tonight?
Well, I have decided I am going to talk to the ladies with a view to helping them out a little bit, you know?
Oh, you know, every time we talk to ladies, it's not met with
Yeah, it's going to be a problem.
Yeah,
right?
it's not met with it's not positively received.
Yeah, it's very rarely, right? Now, I'm aware, Neil, that this may be an exercise in futility or frustration, but nonetheless, I shall crack on. I shall press forward. But ladies, I implore you, before, and those of you who are white knights for the ladies, those of you who are surrogates for the ladies and advocates for the ladies, before you get triggered, just hear me out and watch your comments to the men in the chat if you feel like. You don't have to. You can watch your comments to the men in the chat. You'll see that they're probably going to agree with most of the stuff I'm going to say here tonight. Shut up, BBC. For the soda water, man.
What free advertising we doing?
Yeah, man. But I love the soda water, man. It's awesome.
Fair enough. And
my guy Mark works there. So.
Oh yeah, shout out Mark.
So shut up, Mark, right? So, yeah. Right? So, ladies, if you're looking to make some progress towards the relationship results you say you want, because, you know, many of the ladies have said in the past here on this channel that they indeed do want a man. They're looking for one. So, hey, see my guy Mark Brown in the house, my guy Moxie in the house as well, Kevin Hunt and Priya as well.
Shout out Priya, man, Kevin, yeah. Shout out. That gets some good people in the chat, man.
Good people in the chat. So we've heard the people say before, Neil, that they're interested in having a relationship. And if that's the case, well, this show is going to be for you, right? So Neil, you can give me number one there, so right? You got them. If you can check in our WhatsApp chat, you got them there listed up for you. So you can give me number one, right? So yesterday I got this screenshot, right, folks, and a related video.
Yeah, on screen,
right? And it says men they play. And this from Salt, right? By the way, men they playing cricket in the car park. And she come and park there of all places. Men don't park there. Got enough space all around the gym. She said it is a car park, not a cricket field. I get out and lock the car and went long. So 6 men move it and rest it there for her. So they give me number 2, which is the associated video, right?
All right. And here's
the screenshot describe the actions of the woman.
And here's the video.
Here's the video, right?
Yeah, on screen.
Good. So here we have the lady. She decided part she can't go along, and the video shows how the man chose to respond. Now, in lieu of doing her physical bodily harm, the gentleman decided to relocate her vehicle for her. And as you can see, they put it on top of an embankment, right? I thought in a way that, you know, she could easily get it off the embankment. Now, I had a hearty laugh at that, right? As some of you would know, because I shared it with quite a few people on my WhatsApp. And I found it funny because I'm in a cricket chat as well. We play cricket on weekends. And we would normally play at the gymnasium, but our particular group, we haven't played in some time because a lot of the guys involved in the season and stuff like that. So our Sunday group has kind of gone to naught a little bit. But we were late last week, discussing the possibility of going and joining these very gentlemen to have a game, right? And he had to wonder, you know, imagine if one of Barbados' 2 leading misogynists was involved in the relocation of this vehicle, how it would have gone down. So, you know, I'm pretty glad that he was not there. Things have a way of working out, you know? But yeah, I had a hearty laugh at the video. I sent it to some people, but one person's response stood out to me, and that's our girl Annie C. She was popping in the chat from time to time, right? And Annie C made the point that this is what happens when you don't learn to work with people. And that is the point, Neil, from which I am going to launch tonight's discussion, diatribe, monologue, whatever you want to call it, right? So give me number 3, Neil.
Number 3. Let's see number 3 here.
I hope I've labeled it correctly for you. Right?
Yes, I got number 3 here.
Right.
Yeah. On screen.
And it says, my next relationship, I'm leaving the first time. The first time you cheat, the first time you name call, the first time you seem unhappy. The first time you seem unhappy. The first time I feel unappreciated. The first time I feel unwanted. I'm leaving. I will not try to fix it. Right? Now, please note, the first time that you seem unhappy, I gone. Gotta love it, right? Gotta love it.
Mm-hmm.
So it brought me to the question, right, Neil? How willing are we to work with each other as men and women?
Mm-hmm.
Now, please, before you go any further, do not get confused. I am not suggesting that anybody stay in a relationship to accept bad treatment. I'm not suggesting that at all.
Mm-hmm.
But these days, it seems as if we are only too quick to fire one partner and move on to the next, right? And I believe part of that mindset is due to social media and dating apps, making women believe that their dating options are limitless. And why do I say making women believe that? Because men, we know the strife is real. The struggle is real out here in these dating streets, trying to find somebody to accept us and our dusty ass, right? We know that dating is indeed a meritocracy, and you have to improve yourself constantly in order to be able to compete for the women that you want to get, right?
Mm-hmm.
Women, not so much, right? We did a short some time ago, I think it was in season 1, where a lady went on Facebook and said, well, hey, she ain't got no time for no bro,
Ninja.
Bro, mother effers. And then when somebody slid in her DMs, her first comment was, yeah, I'm homeless. Yeah, so she's homeless. Somebody still slid in the DMs, right? Ain't nobody sliding in a homeless man DMs. So we get it fairly quick, right?
Mm-hmm.
So social media and dating apps have made women believe that their dating options are limitless, right? So let's take a look at this article so you guys can get an idea of what I mean. And please understand, again, we do research on this channel. We don't just come, as I would tell you, and talk out of our asses. We make sure that what we say is rooted in something of research and fact, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let me know when you're ready, Neil. Like,
As you ready?
all right. The paradox of choice. An overabundance of options in modern life has led to increased unhappiness, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was a time that if you wanted a phone, you had one choice, and it came from one company. Yeah. Shoot, we know we could relate to that here in Barbados.
Mm-hmm.
For a long time, it was cable and wireless, right?
Mm-hmm.
Shoot, even today, it's still CBC. There was one model, it came in black, was installed by the company who rented it to you, and it never broke. Everyone that had one was thrilled. You either had one or you did not. That was the extent of your choices, right? No, your phone fits in your pocket, contains nearly the exhaustive knowledge of mankind, and has the ability to do everything from securing your house from intruders to ordering groceries. It can do almost anything imaginable, and yet you probably don't even really like the one you have, which is better than any other phone you've ever had because it's not as good as you think it should be. According to studies of human behavior, if you really want to make your customers happy, offer them less. That's the conclusion that many leading psychologists have come to, despite the explosion of options offered to us over the past few decades. That as a society, we have become overwhelmed by choices, inundated with options. Call it the Amazonian nature of commerce, where the number of choices is seemingly endless. We are paralyzed by options. You still with me, my brother?
Oh, yeah, I'm holding on.
All right. There's a scene in the movie Mr. Mom, 1983. Michael Keaton, the first Batman, the greatest Batman. We ain't counting Adam West. Michael Keaton has taken over the home duties after being laid off at work and is attempting to go grocery shopping with 3 kids. He's at the deli counter and he asks for a ½ pound of cheese. The deli clerk goes through a list of options: American cheddar, Swiss, provolone, mozzarella, Munster, Monterey Jack, Asiago, and goat. He says, never mind, give me some ham. Right? She goes through the laundry list of choices. He has no idea. It's hopeless. The future of retail is not more, it's less. Right? The fewer options you have, the greater the confidence in your decisions, the less likelihood for regret, and the greater your opportunity for happiness. It's not having the most number of stores, it's having the best selection. Curate the collection a bit. Don't just throw raw data at us. When they ask you what you recommend, don't just read me a list of options. It's the equivalent of asking your doctor what you should do for your ailment, and he began reading a list of pros and cons of an endless variety of medicines. The side effects might be important, but what we want are answers, right? The American psychologist and author Barry Schwartz writes in his book, The Paradox of Choice, that we do not enjoy greater happiness or freedom from more overabundance of choice, but rather that we have become paralyzed because of it. He gives the example of the number of choices of salad dressing in his local supermarket, which he claims is 175 varieties, and which, of course, sounds great. The problem is, he explains, is that if you had only 3 choices, say between blue cheese, ranch, and balsamic, you're very likely to be going to be happy with whatever choice you choose. But if you pick one out of 175, it's very unlikely that you'll be happy with your choice. The reason is that your expectations have become so high that perfection is the only thing that will satisfy you. Anything less than perfection, and we begin to regret our choice. And it is this regret that limits our happiness. If we are limited to 3 choices, or maybe even 1, the blame for any dissatisfaction is credited to the system. But if we perceive that we have been given almost unlimited choice and we have chosen poorly, the only blame we can place is with ourselves. Now that is some profound stuff there, right? That is some profound stuff there. Let me get it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, we go to the dating app. We know how the dating app thing works, right? The whole we talk about it. The rise of single lonely men, or whatever it was. The article a couple of weeks ago that was trending, and they said that 62% of the users on the dating apps are men, right? I be no man. Men lucky to get some. So a man out there shooting the shot. And the women ain't really taking it on like that. And the women will look for the best available man, right? Which means that the best available man now has all the options, okay? And the women, because they can go in and they can match with a guy. You match with a guy, you have an evening of, romance or whatever. Let's call it romance to be delicate. And you think that you have access to that guy. When that guy really just, looking to pump and dump. Lash and dash, as Stephen Wu would say, right? Mm-hmm. Very often we hear the lovely ladies say they refuse to settle, or they don't need a man, or don't you ever get yourself to thinking you're irreplaceable. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sing it, Beyonce.
And I'm sure many of you know where that last one came from, correct? Beyonce, right? Many women see men as useful for sex only. And that, men, we did the Expendable show. Men are easily replaceable. You get one, dispense with it, get another, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this train of thought is detrimental to fostering a healthy relationship with a man, right? Now, if you doubt me, let's have a listen to this lovely lady and what she has to say about the men with whom she has, encountered. What number we at there now, Neil?
We are 5.
Yeah, give me number 5 there.
Mm-hmm. On screen.
Let me listen to it.
So many black men in particular are so angry and resentful about the fact that black women, and not just the women that they think are the most attractive and the most deserving, that so many everyday black women are saying, you said I don't have options, but I actually do have options. And one of my options is not to fuck with you. And maybe I don't have like all of the options that I wish I had, but I'm always gonna have the option not to fuck with you. and I'm gonna exercise that option. So yeah, like I'm gonna be single for a minute, and maybe a little lonely. Maybe I desire some, penis. Maybe I desire some sex. And maybe if we even take this out of the heterosexuality context, maybe I'm gonna exercise the option to not support you emotionally, to not do that labor, right? To not give you money, to not overextend myself. Like that's also a part of me exercising my options.
Mm-hmm. All right. See, all right. I mean, that is your opinion. That is your opinion. Isn't that wrong with that? Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching the Senate podcast. Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. And yeah.
Girlfriend said she admitted it. She may not have all the options that she would want, but one option she will always retain is not to deal with us, right? Well, but us black men, right? But they ask the question, which man would want to be in a relationship with a woman who has expressed quite pointedly that she has no need for him outside the sex, right? She said she's going to be lonely for a minute. She said that. She might want a little penis. She said that, right? But for me, Neil, if you say you don't want me, that should extend to everything, right? So you shouldn't want the penis either, right?
No. Because anyhow, you go ahead.
if you're in there doing me, you don't want that doing me. You don't want penis neither. You know what I mean?
I want you part time. Part time. I love.
Yeah. So be careful what you say, ladies, because times are indeed a changing, right? And every day I see, more and more men coming forward and saying, and it's starting to be a little bit more aware of what's happening, right? Andrew Tate get banned here the other day. Kevin Samuels passed away. He took a lot of flack. But then men are starting to realize, well, hey, women are being allowed to say anything. Them again, but we did it. We can talk about that. Bam. A show where a lady said, hey, aborting black babies, black boys might be the best thing to do. King Herod style, right?
Yeah.
So if you keep saying that you don't want a man, ladies, you keep putting that in the atmosphere, men will stay from around you, right? I'll say this to you, ladies. Good men are a rare commodity. So if you meet a good man, if you have a good man, if you are in the vicinity of a good man, do not be afraid to consolidate things with that man and try to make it work. Let me be clear. I'm not saying to accept bad treatment or, any abuse. I'm not saying that. But, because as Neil would say, it's true food when your mouth open. That's not really a reason to, just fall at everything and then. There's no good man store for you to pass up a man and go and get another one. Even if that's what social media and the dating apps want you to believe, right? Let's look at this article for the New York Post. Do you think that's number 7 now?
Yeah, that's where we are now.
6. 6.
Yeah. Well, you're on screen when you're ready.
How he hacked Tinder and dated 15 men in 21 days.
Oh, my.
Right? With the Tinder Swindler, a blockbuster success on Netflix, many women are weary of matching with a man online. But one Australian woman says Tinder is the perfect place to meet Mr. Right and is revealing the simple hacks she uses to maximize chances of success on the app. Helen Chick, who hails from Sydney, down under, says dating is simply a numbers game and boasts that she has had Tinder dates with 15 different men during a recent 3-week trip to New York City. The serial dater, who has penned the book Sex, Swipes, and Other Stories, divulged how she managed to meet so many men in such a short period of time during an interview on the podcast Kinda Sorta Dating. Chick declared that everything comes down to time and urged Tinder users not to procrastinate while on the app. Get in there and get it done, girls. Okay? Time is the one thing you can't get back. So that's why I'm very big on time and efficiency, she stated. Pretty attractive lady. Knowing that she was coming to the Big Apple, Chick changed her location settings to New York City before she had even left Sydney. She said it is important to get small talk out of the way quickly so that you can meet up in person as soon as possible. I wonder what they're meeting for, Neil. What do you think?
Where you come by me for?
Change your location prior to arriving in the city, so you're basically matching people in a city you're not actually physically in, but you can do all the tedious small talk, banter, vibe checks before you arrive, she advised. For those who are hoping to date locally, Chick further divulged her hack for cutting down on small talk. The savvy swiper says she divides conversation into two categories: need to know and nice to know. Right? Chick has had dates with 15 different men, Drew, and you see the picture of her here, right?
Mm-hmm.
The latter consists of lighthearted, the latter being nice to know. Lighthearted, trivial topics, while the former is focused on determining a person's morals, goals, and values. Chick claims conversations should be focused on the need to know category so as to quickly figure out whether two people are compatible prior to putting energy into a date. On that, we agree. Ish. For instance, Chick is twice divorced.
Gotta love it.
Can't make it up. Shout out Kevin Simons. You cannot make this up. For instance, Chick is twice divorced, as she says that fact is a part of the need to know category. She always shares that personal information before an in-person meetup. People have different stances on this sort of stuff. Some people are very traditional, some are much more open-minded, but at the end of the day, you should give them the chance to decide, she stated. And again, on that, we agree, all right? Give somebody the information to make an informed decision, right?
Mm-hmm.
Chick hasn't divulged whether she met the man of her dreams in New York City. Anybody want to put some money down on the fact that she hasn't? But believes her handy hacks are sure to help other singletons save time and be swept off their feet in the process.
Mm-hmm. Gotta love it.
Indeed you do, Neil. Indeed you do. Tinder provided this lady with the opportunity to go on 15 dates in 21 days, right? 15 different men, 15 different opportunities. Now, as she said, you get the small talk out of the way first, right? So by rights, you should be dating with some kind of intention. If you get to the dating part, right? You should be going forward with some kind of purpose, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, where in those 21 days, folks, would she have been able to establish any kind of connection and relationship with any of those if you were dating 15 different people, right? 15 different people in 21 days takes some doing, right?
It's an effort.
Indeed it does. Now, anybody that knows how she would have been able to establish a connection with any of those 15 guys, please put it in the chat for me, please. Help me out, right? What I found interesting, Neil, is that she says she's big on time and efficiency. And she's dated 15 men in 21 days. Does anybody believe that because she said she do all these small talk up front, right? I don't want to misquote the lovely lady. She get this small talk up front. What does she say? Morals, goals, and values, right? Ironically, that's the latter stuff, the nice to know. Yeah? Morals, goals, and values are the nice to know part, not the need to know part.
Mm-hmm.
Nice to know.
Yep.
Right? So, if you know, you're putting the emphasis in that, so we can only assume who you're dating for, right? And I don't want to cast any aspersions, so I'll leave that for you guys to figure out, right? Does anybody believe that there were no good men amongst the faithful 15 that took her out on those dates? Not one of those men had the potential for something more permanent. Because, you said, you got the light-hearted, trivial topics. The former need to know, person's morals, goals, and values. You've established all that. You're dating because you know that information. But none of them men provided the opportunity for something more permanent. None. I find that difficult to believe. So as much as she's saying that she believes in efficiency, she's actually wasting time. Yeah? We had a clip that we would have used like stream. I think it was a fan night where a dating coach was suggesting, ladies, that you have a tier system where you have 3 guys in rotation and you kind of figure out, you know, if plan A don't work out, you go to plan B and C. That sounds efficient, but it's really not, right? It's really not. It is better to put all your energy into one person at a time. Just saying. Call me old-fashioned, call me crazy, but I think that is the best and most efficient way to do it. If you do it that way, you realize early, okay, this person is what you want, I can move on. But if you spread yourself so thin that you're trying to 15 people in 21 days, then a call back, then a second date in there, you know. Then a second date in there. There's no further. It's just space. There's no furthering of the initial conversation, the initial interaction. It can't because you just ain't got time. All right? Now, the article didn't say how old she is, but I'm sure that Miss Chick thought one of 2 things, if not both of them, right? She probably thinks you can find another man. You know, I mean, shoot, she says she had 15 men in 21 days, right? Or, probably even more critically, she thinks she has time before she needs to settle down. Attractive lady, huh? But she looks, and she's been married twice. So she's definitely old enough to know that this particular kind of dating won't work in the end. She have a lot of nice dinners. She go on a lot of nice dinners. Probably have some very vigorous sexual experiences. But in the end, when it comes time to look for something more permanent, the dinners will be a part of the Swiss system, and the sex appeals will ring very, very hollow. Then she'll be going on social media and the same podcast that she was on talking about this thing with messages like these 2 lovely ladies that we're going to show you now. So, Neil, give me, I forgot what number we are at here now.
I don't worry. I keep it right. I keep it right.
Yeah, 7 now. Give me 7, because 7 is particularly hilarious to me. Give me 7.
All right. No.
Let me watch 7 too, because she always makes me laugh.
All right. So we're going.
Tough out here in these dating over 40 streets. These men ain't trying to court. They ain't trying to do anything but hit the sack. Where the men at who want to have conversation? Where the men at who want to go on dates? Where the men at that's ready to be a man, not just a man look-alike or in a boy with a suit on that looks like a man, but I'm talking about the real man. Where the man at? Man, where y'all at? We looking for y'all. Oh my God, where y'all at? It's tough out here in these deep streets.
Stuff, Derek. Hard.
Very. You over 40. I remember having a conversation with Ramel Hall. He said his wife said to him, you know, dating for 40-year-olds. Dating some 40-year-olds. You know what I mean? No, you're trying to tell me that this particular lady, she's good looking enough, I suppose. Yeah, she's a bad looking lady. Yeah, clearly a little heavier, but still not a bad looking lady. You can't tell me that in all her life, she's never met a man that is, you know, has the potential for something more permanent. I find that difficult to believe. Because, Neil, when we said Remember, I never forget that night when you said, "But hey, you know, I dated these particular kind of women," and they say to you, Neil, they say to you, "You
What
just
did
do
they say?
what?
They tell me
Change
change your
your
dating pool.
dating pool."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you had to take ownership for that. So, ladies, if you've discovered that you are 40, 35 plus, or whatever, you can't use the excuse that it's the men and the men only. Yeah, we got some men over here that ain't shit. We know that. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we know that. But you can't suggest that you'd have not had the opportunity at 35 plus, 40 plus, 50 plus to have ever met a good man and established something permanent. But it comes back to what Annie C would have said to me yesterday. You gotta learn how to work with people. You gotta be willing to work with people. You gotta be willing to say, you know what? All right, that ain't necessarily a Chinese parade. Or that ain't even a red flag. But it's just, you know, one of these things. Oh dear, Matt. Come on, Matt, man. But it's one of them things that we could work with, we could work through. Again, I ain't suggesting to you that you accept bad treatment. But somewhere along the line, we gotta be willing to say, you know what, all right, I could take this one on the chin. Again, not suggesting that you take bad treatment, but I'm suggesting be a little bit more patient, be a little bit more understanding. Give somebody some grace. I like to say that a lot these days. Give somebody some grace and see if you can actually work with that person going forward, right? Give me the next video, Neil, because this one too. This is a very, very telling warning. Good night to you, Rihanna. Good to see you. And this one is from Black Man's Travels.
Mm-hmm.
And that is another thing that's very popular these days, the issue of men going abroad to find somebody else because they don't want to deal with the women available to them, this particularly US. But it applies here because we know we run to Guyana and thing. So give me that video, Neil.
Mm-hmm.
Just real quick. Do you feel like your options are still as vast with a child before you had a child? Are you running to different types of guys? Are you attracted to different types of men than you did previously before I had a child?
You know what? Before I had a child, I had some great men. I had some great men. Mm-hmm. Before I had a kid, I had a selection. It was like I was at a buffet. They were all good men, but I wasn't a good person at that time. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't a good woman.
You was not a good woman.
I wasn't a good woman at all. I had to get out of my system. So I wasn't a good woman. I was just like, dang, I can have him, and him. I'm going to juggle all of them. And the thing about it is I'm not going to have sex with all of them. I'm not going to even have sex with any of them. I'm going to juggle them. And then when they want it, I'm going to let them go to the next one, boom, 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 pick a card, any card at that point. And then now as I got older, it's like karma because now I'm getting all the horrible people, like the guys that, the part-time dads, the deadbeats, or the guys who live, you know, they don't have a place to stay. You know what I'm saying? They got a job, possibly. They stay with their parents or something like that. It's always a big thing where I'm just like, no, I ain't gonna do it. So before I had a kid, the options were endless and they were beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Endless and beautiful, she says. Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching the Senate Podcast. Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe. Hit notification bell so you don't miss anything. And, you know, let me build this community.
Yes, let's do that indeed. Now, you would have heard what the ladies had to say, right? All right. This is the hard part of the conversation. A lot of women think they have more options than they really do, especially when they're younger and more attractive. They soon discover that the options for a long-term relationship and marriage become more and more limited the older they get and the more children they have. This is a hard and bitter pill for women to swallow, right? And you heard what those two ladies had to say, right? First lady, she was over 40 and complaining. The second lady, she was a little younger, but she said point blank, hey, I had everything available to me until I had a child, right? What happens is the older you get and the more sex you have, the more likely it is you'll have a child or some children, right? And some ladies, they have, all right, let me not be disparaging. Let me keep that comment. Unfortunately, ladies, there is no do-over on children. There are no take-backsies. Men don't owe you grace. Yeah? And while your children are important to you, and you love your children, most men don't see it that way, and they aren't running to take up the responsibility of providing for you and another man's children, right? It's not enough to say, I was young and dumb. Men don't want to hear that, right? And I know some women will say, but hey, I don't want anybody to provide for me and my children. I got this. The reality is, if a man engages you with a view towards a relationship, he is understanding and appreciating the fact that, hey, you and your children are a package deal. You know, like to say that, right, Neil?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that man understands, hey, it is indeed a package. It may not be a deal, but he's going to work with it because he like you. And he does not expect that, but hey, I am taking you and left your children outside. He expects that he will have to take care of you and your children, right? He expects that. No. And here's the challenge with it, right? Why a lot of men, especially now, are so slow or loath to engage women who already have children, right? A child is like a marriage, even more so than the legality of paperwork, right? For example, my ex-wife and I, we have no attachment to each other, right? We're still cool. But as much as we're still cool, weeks could go by and we would not be in contact of any kind, right? That doesn't and can't happen with my daughter's mother. Whether we want to or not, we have to communicate for the next 9 years at least. And I'm sure the same applies to you, Neil, with Reese's mother, right? Mm-hmm. This is why, ladies, it is critical that you make solid decisions about with whom you want to have a child, right? I am not an idiot. Neil is not an idiot. So anybody that wants to be involved with our children's mothers, shoot. Again, we ain't idiots. We can make it work. You know what I mean? We cool. They got some men that's idiots, right? So no, your potential boyfriend will have to interact with your child's father. If your child's father is an idiot, many men signed up for that, right? I heard the song "Smoking Out the Window" by Silk Sonic. The man say, "Put me in the job with your ex-man for the UFC," right? Mm-hmm. But here's the question for the ladies. No, here's the question for the ladies. If the man for whom you got pregnant was going to be your last ever relationship, would you have gotten pregnant? One. And if you did, will you decide to leave that man after the fact, even if it wasn't working out or you just vexed, or would you decide, you know, again, just done with this man? Or would you really think about it and say, you know what, I can be out here, so let me get Keisha, man. I don't necessarily want to be out here, so I might be able to make this work. If you can't stay with that man, or you see a lot of reasons not to stay with that man, maybe you chose poorly. Or you might have to think about it again, right? We need to spend a little bit more time in trying to make our relationships work. We need to figure out what's important and the stuff that we can kind of leave alone outside the off stump. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Then everything we got to play at. Sometimes we need to find peace in our homes, peace with the persons with whom we decide that we want to have relationships, and make those relationships work. I ain't telling you that it gonna always work, but sometimes we gotta say, but this issue is really not that important. And that is on both sides, men and women. Why I decided to focus on the women with this one? Because men, we know that options tend to be a little bit more limited for us. And there's neither tell men nor left. And the divorce rates will show you that. Right? Ladies, good men are a rare commodity. If you meet a good man, do your best to make it work. You may not get a do-over.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you are indeed watching the Senate podcast. Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything, and let's get into it. Now, before we get into, we got a surprise. We got a sneaky guest, right? We didn't really promote it or anything like that, but we do have a guest. I can just give that guest a moment to put their camera on and, activate their mic. But then once we do that, here we go. Wait a minute now. We can see her face. And let's get this. We get this thing. So, are you there?
Hi.
Yes, she is there. Hi. Good night.
Hello.
Hello.
Right. This is Carrie Ann. Carrie Ann Peart. Dr. Carrie Ann Peart. She is not only a very good friend of mine, but she is also someone that lives abroad. She lives in the United States, and she does a lot of work when it comes to people and different communities in health, mental health, and certain management systems in a society to deal with those things. I probably didn't describe that right, but I'm
You
sure
did.
it's
You
good.
did. Good job.
All right, good. So, Carrie Ann, the reason why we brought you on, what we were talking about tonight, I know you joined late, but we are talking about too much choice dilemma, essentially what social media, the damage social media and dating apps would have done. And essentially coming down to women not sticking it out per se when it comes to relationships. Now, obviously, as you're an ardent follower of our channel, you know the divorce rates. You obviously have friends. We have conversations behind the scenes, and we know the struggles, we know the challenges, both personally and with your friends. So, let's get your take on the damage that social media has done or is doing, and also about the staying power, a lot there of women in good relationships.
Hmm. Wow. All right. Well, good night, everybody. Good night. It's nice to see you guys. Um, I would say social media has damaged a lot of relationships, not just intimate relationships, but friendships and other social pieces. But as it pertains to intimate relationships or dating relationships, I think social media has set us up for a lot of false hope. I'll put it that way, right? We oftentimes we know, for the majority of us, we know that the life you see that someone portrays on social media is a very small snapshot of their actual reality, right? We hardly ever see the moments of total meltdown or breakdown after a breakup, although some people share those pieces. We don't necessarily see how people deal and problem solve on a daily basis. We don't see how they communicate on a daily basis. We don't see those pieces. We see the fetes and the cute dresses and the nice shoes and that kind of foolishness.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of false hope that I think social media sets us up for. One of the things that some of my friends and I follow a lot is to see how often people post these things about this could be us. When couples post certain pictures, this could have been us if you just stayed long enough, or this could have been us if you got your money right, and that kind of thing. Which feeds into the narrative that Derek was just talking about a while ago, that people don't stay in situations and really work through situations in order to be, this could be us, to be that level of healthy status. So by and large, it's just a lot of false hope and a lot of idle kind of visions and imaginings in terms of social media and the setup for dating. To your other point around longevity, yes. So the longevity side of things is a struggle, again, because we perceive, as Derek rightly said, a lot of women perceive the thing that, I can find somebody else. The minute that this guy upsets me, there must be somebody else I can find, right? Yeah. There's somebody else that if he doesn't do it right, somebody else will do it for me.
Yep.
That kind of thought process. And that lends to what you guys have spoken about in many of your conversations, where it's the older woman dating the younger guy. Because the one who go and do it for you, right, is the younger one who doesn't know any better.
Right.
And very rarely has boundaries. And so a lot of women abuse that opportunity and manipulate younger men. And I'm talking from professional experience working with young people,
right,
and hearing some of their stories around the types of relationships they've got into with older adults and what that looks like. So there's that also, the whole thing of I can find somebody else that lends to these opportunities of potential abuse. I can find somebody else, and then you try and go out there and try and find somebody, and then it's a whole lot of complaining, like you heard in the videos there, because there really hardly is anybody else who's willing to deal with you and your foolishness.
Yeah, facts. So this is a very interesting conversation because we've said it a lot, and we've even gotten in a bit of trouble for saying it, where a lot of women who would have their degrees and would have obviously their looks, et cetera, as they get older, they are good women. There are good women. They look attractive. They have their degrees. They're making their money, et cetera, but they are, whether it's through influences of social media or influences of their inner circle, the company they keep, they're about this hot girl summer, twerking and want to be sexualized and putting all of this out there. To me, I don't even have a problem with a woman being sexualized, but she putting it out for the entire public to do that, putting it on her social media, etc. That is what you're advertising. Like for me, I often see, it's so funny. Up to the day, I was looking at someone's social media platform, and she's an up and coming actress, and her page had all of her stuff like modeling and acting stuff, because she's trying to market herself as that, right? You go to another young lady's page, she is a reporter, a news reporter. So all of her content on her page would be of that. You know what I mean? Like she is, seen reporting on location, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it makes me wonder, when women post themselves half naked and twerking, you see these challenges, and they got this challenge now where it's be doing some hunting and walking up stink, and it's be like, what are you advertising? You're advertising a good time, and that good time is in the form of sex. So when a man comes along, if all you post, I'm not talking about sometimes, because we understand that there are many facets to a person. Like for example, Carrie Ann, your social media page, like your social media page would have you in a carnival costume, it would have you in a bikini, but it is not the prevailing theme of your page. Like you have stuff of you, like, various countries.
There's more to her.
Exactly, right?
Thank you, Derek.
Right. But when you go through some people's social media pages, and it's not just the pictures too, let's be clear. It's not only the pictures and the video, but it's also the captions as well.
Right.
Where you saying like, I don't need a man, I could do it by myself. And, you know what I mean? Like, why wait for somebody? Like, even those memes and stuff people post, all of those things go into a man making a decision, a business decision. And it's the other way around too. Like if women come to a man's page and all the man showing his cars, then you will go, no, the man into cars. If the man on his page and if the man only got shoes on his, like bare sneakers, guess what the man bought? Sneakers. If the man is a bodybuilder, he always showing off or whatever, he's a bodybuilder, he bought his workout. Right. If the man is, into himself. And all the pictures you see of this man is of himself, selfies. Like there's this one man, the man got over 2,000 posts, and all of them are selfies of himself, right?
Ooh.
So guess what he into? Himself. You know what I mean? Or the act of taking selfies. Either way, the point is that we try to, or rather, I find women try to conflate or make excuses for posting content. I watched the video again. I can let you jump in here quick, but I watched the video. I can't remember the content creator. Was it Abba Preach? I can't remember, but basically speaking, the woman posts. She's an influencer, so she has like sponsors, or she's working. She has campaigns with people, right?
Yes.
And she posted a picture. She's a very attractive young woman.
I
She's
was
very
trying to find out for you.
very well proportioned, right? And she posted a picture of herself, very risque picture. She's in a netted outfit. She has on obviously underwear, whatever, but she is putting her behind front and center
Front and center. Yeah.
in the picture, right? And obviously the company or whoever she was working with said, nah, that's too much. Too much is sufficient. We can't deal with that. And she got on this whole tirade about she thought about the patriarchy. She thought about we need to normalize women's bodies and stop the sexualization of women's bodies and stuff like that. And I'm like, and even the content creator said, but it's you that sexualize your body though. Right? It was Alban Peach, not I remember. And it really makes me laugh where there is a certain subsect of our society trying to normalize bad behavior. Right? They're trying to normalize bad behavior. Behavior that if you put out there, that energy can come back to you. If you put out that you like twerking and you always showing off your body and this and that and next, but guess what men can be interested in? Guess what women can be interested in? Guess what companies can be interested in? They may care if you talk about Black Lives Matter or Juneteenth or whatever. If you got 1,000 pictures of you twerking and showing you behind or whatever, and then you got Black Lives Matter and you got Juneteenth, so the men ain't gonna see you as a social activist. No man they can come and say our values aligned with how we see black people and black unity and stuff like that. They may come in to look to see what they could do with our body. Women are gonna be looking to see what they could do with that body. And companies are willing to see what they can do with that body. But we somehow try to twist and conflate things and make it seem as though, I'm empowering myself and, me twerking is a way of building my self-esteem. Nobody knows. Like, all right. But then don't get vexed when men sliding you DM saying what I asked do. You know what I mean? Like Derek hates women with their tongue out in pictures. Derek hates it. Tongues and videos. He hates it, right? Like women doing
it's not strong enough word.
I ain't even gonna do it, right? But
abhor.
To me,
better detest.
If you're doing something salacious or you're doing something risky and you sticking out your tongue, you boat it.
Yeah.
You boat it. And I can shoot my shot. No, I'm not saying that you are about it or not, but that's the image, that is the perception you are putting out there. You understand what I mean? But people seem to think that we can do as we like. And this is exactly why we formed our platform. This is exactly why we have built this space. And this is exactly why our content is focusing on not only telling men, all right, this is how you should really move and not move, and this is what to do and not do, but also trying to give women an understanding that you cannot be out here doing as you feel like and be vexed with the consequences that align with those choices. You know what I mean? And I know people come and start with the shaming of, oh, you blaming the victim and this, that, next. No, we're not talking about the extreme. We're not talking about essentially the exceptions to the rule, because those things are in the vast minority. We are talking about people that out there, huh?
We out here say it's true. I always cry when someone posts an almost naked photo and then the caption says something like, "The Lord is my shepherd."
Listen, but Derek, you know how I feel. Carrie and Derek, you both know how I feel about seeing a woman in a bikini, she 2 legs wide open. You could see essentially all and sundry of her genitals. And she talking about sometimes, God gives you challenges in your life. And if it weren't for music would have gotten me through. And I think that sometimes we have to look inward to self-beauty.
Yeah, but she's showing you inward.
She's showing you the inward. Yeah.
You're so right. You're so right. We saying the inner beauty. But then no, if I come and say, Carrie Ann is a Jamaican, so she can appreciate a pum fat gal. If I can put that there now and she DMs, no, I want locking up. I just throw a strap. You know what I mean?
I think the thing, Neil, is that want to be able to sexualize themselves without men sexualizing them.
But,
if you understand what I'm saying.
I understand what you're saying, right, Derek. But when you fish with dynamite and you want to get blow off, you can't be vexed with the dynamite company. You can't be vexed at the man selling you dynamite.
So
I'll put it this way. Go ahead, carry on. Sorry.
What I will say to both your points, there is a Neil, you know this because I've been friends a long time and I've been on this soapbox for years about how much women's empowerment has essentially screwed women.
Oh, wait. Hold on. Time out. There's a woman saying this there?
Indeed it is.
Yes.
And she's Jamaican, let me sort she out though.
Wait. Yeah, like carry on. We have not coached carry on. We have not coached carry on. We have not had any conversation prior. Let her go. Go ahead.
It's not a matter of coaching or having previous conversation or anything like that. It's a matter of observing, one, and two, experiencing, like my own lived experience with some of this stuff, right? Yes, I have a PhD, I have a master's, I have all of these things, right? Women's empowerment did some of that to help me to be able, as a woman of color in the US, to access certain things, to level up in certain ways that this particular society values, right?
Yes.
It's not valued the same way back home in Jamaica or, Trinidad or wherever else. It's different value systems. Yes, education is a priority for us in the Caribbean region, which is why so many of us push the way we do, but the value placement is different. Here, it's a matter of when I get these letters behind my name or this level of status, I can engage with these levels of people. At home, it's more of a matter of I get this level of engagement and status so I can get this money and I can take care of my damn family.
Right.
It's a little different, the value system. So as someone who has had to navigate the US context, given my cultural nuances, women's empowerment has screwed us up. Because I'm now at the point, and you guys talk about this too, what you're just mentioning, where you're a qualified person, right? You're making some level of money. Great. I can have my house and my car and take care of myself to an extent, but I actually would love a companion. I do not intend to spend my life alone. I never did, right? But however, what has happened in the social context here in the US is that you leveling up, or what they like to say, you being a boss bitch and all this kind of thing,
right,
has now disqualified you to a certain level from the pool of folks who you would normally be circling with and dating and that kind of stuff, because those men, to a level, have been left behind. In that, women's empowerment did all this stuff over here and never communicated and said, guys, as we're empowering the women this way, you now need to complement this way, so that when you all are rising with the tide,
right,
you can find each other along the way. That didn't happen. So now you have these women who, like myself, are either single still, right? And then this is when they get into the whole, well, I'm single by choice.
Right.
Really? So you're single, or you've navigated certain relationships and you potentially are contemplating going back, like what Derek was just saying a while ago. You kind of reassess and say, well, maybe I need to stick out certain things and communicate better, because some of us as women do not communicate as well as we think we do, right? And work out a few more kinks. We need to seriously kind of reassess a few pieces with us as women, particularly when it comes to how we want to navigate our relationships with male partners and raise families and that kind of thing. So there's a level of reassessment that now I think is happening for some of us as women at this level.
Right.
That whole come to Jesus moment, right? Your eggs drying up. No man really trying to holler at you the same way unless you're spreading your legs on IG, which is what now happens, which is what you now see.
Thirst trapping.
Right. You start becoming a trap for men. And when they slide into your DMs and talk about that ass and them breasts and all that kind of thing, now you offended. Come on, sis. You put that out there.
But
What
if the
else
man,
you thought you were gonna get?
if the man got a blue tick next to his name, or he flossing with Lamborghinis or whatever, if he come and talk with them breasts and ass, the woman can say flew me out. As I say, flew me out and see what can happen. See what that ass do.
Right.
It's different
right.
context
And then
now.
it becomes you buying into what I believe. These are all my opinions. It becomes us as women desiring something. In order to get it, we become somewhat of these thirst traps. I don't mean to offend anybody, but I'm just talking based on my work and observation of folks. You become these what we label as thirst traps. And you start talking about, well, oh, is that what you're going to say? Well, throw some bills or fly me out, like you say, and we can really see what this is, right? And so you play into that poor, lower narrative of it just being sexualized.
Right.
And then it becomes a whole nother, it becomes a trauma reinforcing game, right? And the insecurities are reinforced over and over again. So there's a whole psychology, as we all know, behind it. And it's, I think, very, very unfortunate, right? Because as women, particular, this happened to me just last week when I went to the gyno. Yes, folks, I'm that person. I'm a very open book. And her question to me was, when you're planning on having children, you're at that age now.
Right.
I'm 40, and she's looking at me like, your body is right. Everything is saying that you're ready to go, but what's up? And I'm like, well, I don't have a partner. I don't have anybody, just to your point, that I deem worthy of partnering with to that level of having children. Because for me, it's not a joke to become pregnant and to become mother. And I'm not saying it necessarily is it's not a joke normally, but some women really,
they don't take it as seriously as they should. Carrie, I don't know if you could speak to why is it, because I think we would have touched on this before from our perspective, but I want to hear from you as a woman and also as a psychologist working with these kind of things. Why is it that a woman can achieve academically and then still say, I cannot say, but hey, why can't I deal with or date with or have a long-term relationship with a guy who is in a blue-collar job, for example?
Socialization. It's a social conditioning. So if you as a woman have gotten to this, and this is from experience too, because my friends have said this to me, they're like, you have a PhD, you should be marrying someone or dating someone who has a PhD or above, meaning like, he should be like a venture philanthropist. He should be the owner of Virgin Atlantic and that kind of
like then was Wobble.
Right. You can't be dating down.
At all. So not to cross you. So even though the guy who is beneath you, and we can use beneath you in inverted commas, right? Even though that guy who is beneath you he dotes on you, he treats you well, he's kind, sweet, all them things, considerate within his own means and all that. Can that guy not qualify even though he does all those things? He just does not have the academic or professional qualification, and he does not have the, for want of a better term, money and resources.
So for me, I have dated those guys. I do date those guys. I'm kind of that random exception, I guess, because I find that, to your point, some of those men are a lot more conscientious and a lot more responsive and a lot more attentive than someone who may be what I should be dating. Right? The dating up foolishness. Personally, my experience has been challenging in that, one of my ex, we just did a part 2 of our relationship, and I was like, yo, this can't work because he hasn't taken care of certain trauma experiences that manifest in a relationship in a certain way that triggers me, that cannot.
Right.
So that part, at least for me, is what the issue is. For other women, it's the social conditioning. You know, you're not supposed to be of that status academically or professionally,
Right.
and dates, like if you're a dentist, you should be dating a dentist or another doctor.
Right.
Right? You're not supposed to be dating a restaurant owner unless it's some global restaurant owner.
Yeah.
Right? And it's a matter of just how the values. It goes back to how you value things and how the social context in which you're navigating forces you to believe a particular level of conditioning.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Deep stuff, folks. Deep stuff. And you're hearing it from this isn't Derek talking, this isn't Neil talking. There's a professional in the thing talking, all right, folks? There's a professional in the thing. So don't come and curse me or curse me through Neil and say how misogynist I is and all these things.
Don't even come a curse, Carry On, because at the end of the day, right, I think it goes back to what I've been saying before, right? So like everything that the three of us are saying are all kind of interwoven into now having us in this space where men are choosing to go their own way because dentists don't walk about at the rate of bricklayers, or you know what I mean, like construction men vastly outweigh venture capitalists, philanthropists, and all of that there, right? You have a better chance of finding a man that has a blue collar job or a man that is still trying to get himself to a place, whether it be financially or academically, well into his like late 30s, 40s, than a woman, right? Not necessarily saying that there's a fault in him or that he's not, it could be several reasons why, you know what I mean? But the point remains is that there is an unrealistic standard in some cases, I would dare say most cases, where women. So I often say, right, that society has changed, but we have not adapted, right?
Correct.
Society has changed. It has shifted in the last 50 to 60 years with the empowerment of women, but we have not empowered men.
Correct.
And I know some people may say, but what, and this is the rhetoric that keeps coming, why we got to empower men because the society already favors them. But you see, again, this is not a patriarchy in the sense that people like to describe it, because only the 1% of the 1% truly call the shots and truly benefit from this society, whereas the majority of men make up the most unemployed, the poorest demographics, the most impoverished, self-deletion rates. So when we talk about these things and we talk about, dating on my level and, I take my time and go on, yes, it is great that women have now gotten a social status in our society and can vote and can get their education and can be CEOs and can be, psychologists, psychiatrists, have PhDs and letters behind the name. But by the same token, you can't realistically think that them men on your level or above walking boat. Like them men in on Tinder, them men in at your local cafe. Like
because they don't have to be.
I know.
Right.
They don't have to be.
And here's the thing.
Go ahead, Neil.
Right before I made this point, Carry On, you made a point where you say, you made the point saying that women who are the boss bitch and stuff like that, those men that they're looking for, they're nowhere to be found. I posit that because you have achieved that level of success and you have now had to wear the cloak, Carry On, we talk about this often, the pseudo masculinity. You've now had to put on this cloak of pseudo masculinity and you don't take it off when you go home, you got it on. So if you at work, you degree and you PhD and you's a manager and this and that next, when you come home, you keeping that same energy.
Yeah.
Right? You keeping that same energy regardless of what your man does. And the men that you want at your level or above ain't putting up with that.
They're not putting
They want a soft, feminine woman that they can rely on and nurture them. So
thank you, Neil, for that segue, because I wanted to ask Carrie Ann about the psychology of men at that PhD level.
Yeah.
Because as we would have said, and Neil would have alluded to earlier, there are way more men walking around who are just the average Joe Blow on the street than there are men at PhD level. And to my mind, it requires a very different level of stick-to-itiveness and
Perseverance.
graft and hard work and that kind of thing to get to PhD level. So when a man achieves at that level, I don't think that he's then going to say, you know what, I can take up any and everybody around me. So if you could speak to, I don't know how much insight you have to men on that level and what is they're actually looking for in women who approach them.
Sure. I have a little bit of context. One, I don't date them.
Exactly. And you said that you don't really
Is
date
that
them. And
is
I'm
that a conscious
figuring
decision?
that may be a bit of a conscious decision because of some of the stuff that you might have seen having to interact with them. So if you could speak to that a little bit.
There is that. So one thing I wanted to make a remark about, because I know you guys love stats, right? Always fact-based here, which I love it.
Facts. Rooted in facts. Appreciate facts.
Yes, I am in the 4% of the US population that has a doctoral degree.
Right.
And this is men and women.
This is men and women.
Hold on. And then of that 4%, I am 2%, I believe it is, that are of color, something like that.
Right.
Or less, like 1 point something, roughly 2% of that 4% people of color or women of color. Yes, there is a level of perseverance and discipline that comes with getting to this point. There's also sometimes to your detriment, a level of self-imposed isolation that happens that folks become very comfortable with because of what it takes for you to really just hone in and do the work for it. And I think for many of us, we get comfortable with that and just continue to self-isolate and not bother with relationships. For the men who have similar degrees to me or the PhD level, the majority of men that I have seen at that level are white men, right? I'm in America, folks. I'm in America.
Right. And this is are we talking 4%?
Right.
Right.
Are white men, and the majority of them are in academia. I'm a recovering academic.
Right.
I don't want to be spending my life in academia. So those are, the men who, by and large, you'd call the bookworms.
Right.
They come home expecting dinner. They do the family trips and vacation and continue researching their whole lives and that kind of thing. No, I want a fete. I want my curry chicken or my curry goat and that kind of thing. It's a different mentality, which is why I don't choose necessarily to date men who are of that status. If he's a Caribbean PhD, no, that's different.
Right.
And
Different socialization.
Different socialization.
Culture,
Right. So, and then the Caribbean PhDs that I have met are much older than me. So there's no way I'm mashing up anybody's home. Them done married, have children my age. We're not doing that. So I'm pretty much in a very narrow opportunity. And those men are really looking for, you guys call it softer. I think it's probably in one other way of looking at it, more traditional women, in that those are the women who they have jobs, they have careers, but they're very much into raising the children and taking care of home, right? And in this cultural context, we're predominantly talking about white families because that's the reality.
Yeah.
So given that type of nuance and the cultural context you're operating with is why I've chosen not to particularly date men here with PhDs and that kind of thing. No, I haven't met anybody on that venture philanthropy side and all that just yet. So when I get there, I'll talk to you about that.
Just remember your friends, right?
It's true.
Just remember your roots.
Yeah, it's stick with my roots. You know this. But it's a different mentality because there's a certain structure of discipline that you formulate going for it. And so your expectations for certain levels of intellectual stimulation are high because I recognize that with me too. Like I need certain levels of intellectual stimulation. And for women who don't already know, most of us as women, sex is mental. It starts mentally, right? Before anything else gets turned on. So if he can't stimulate me personally, mentally, then forgot it. It not gonna work nowhere else, right?
Yeah.
So there's that too for those types of men. There is a mental piece that is very important for them. along with discipline and structure that they're really into.
So how given the stuff that we see on social media and all that, and you're saying discipline and structured. This evening, I got a video of a lady at a carnival simulating fellatio on a guy in a costume at carnival, right?
Yeah.
Now, that video has absolutely nothing to do with discipline and structure and all that.
It got to do with a lot of other things, though.
A lot of men with structure, right? Can the woman who decides, you know what, I want to be free to live in my own truth, and I want to be able to, I see you, Neil. I want to be able to have agency over my parts, and I can share them with whom I want to share them, and I can put them on display for the world to see, and all those things. Do those women qualify for men on that level?
For men on
that level,
philanthropy level,
PhD level. Don't really get a venture for that. PhD level.
You know what? On average, we would say it no, right? It doesn't match up based on behavior of said woman,
right,
and the common behaviors of said type of man. He would not be that type of person. They're not usually out there. They're very much quiet and reserved individuals. And again, this is my observation and having worked with a number of them over the years. So to have a wife or a girlfriend that does stuff like that is a bit of a challenge for them. A bit of a challenge.
I could imagine.
Yeah, not sure what the longevity around that.
Yeah, I don't think it gets to wife status like that.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
But for me, I have a kind of question and a statement all wrapped in one, right? Because
as usual,
it usually comes. All right. It comes with a level of So what I find, right, is that there's a measure of control in relationships, right?
Yes.
And I think what Derek and I, we often talk about it. This is purely an observation and an opinion. But basically, women felt like they've been controlled all throughout human history and by society and everything like that. I know they're trying to rebel against that control, meaning that they want to wear what they want to do what they want to make the choices they want. They think they deserve what they want, and they can stick out to that until hell freezes over, right? But I posit to you that in relationships, particularly today, there's also a level of control from the women's part on the man, simply because if we're in a relationship, I can be out 2 o'clock in the morning every night at the rum shop, right? I can't be playing PlayStation. I'm neglecting chores, right? Like there's still a measure of control that needs to be had. And control may be a ticklish word, so let me use another word: structure and stability, right? You need a semblance of structure and stability within the framework of a relationship for that to make sense, for it to work out. What I have found is that a lot of women seem to want one-way control or one-way
structure
and stability, in that they create the structure, they create the stability, they maintain the control, but the man essentially can't tell a woman what to wear, or can't tell she where to go, and can't tell she what to do, right? But it is on the flip side, it is in some cases understood, but I even want to posit that women outright say, yeah, I don't like those pants on you, I don't like those shirts on you, or whatever.
Live that.
So a number of things come to my mind around that. First thing, given our identity as Black people, right? People of the earth, and African diaspora, we know the historic traumas, right? We know by and large how, Neil, you talk about this too a lot too, the Black family structure has been severely disrupted.
Yes.
Right? And in that disruption, it moved to women leading households, either by, not necessarily by choice, often not by choice, right? And that a lot of that we now know, and we've spoken about in a lot of different spaces I've navigated, the breaking of the slave,
Yeah. Oh boy.
That whole thing of
Mm-hmm.
breaking men down in front of their
Front of,
children
yeah.
and their women.
Mm-hmm.
And for so many decades, it has continued in the form of our men going to prison, right? Because the majority of prisons around the world, men are there, which is why we can't find men to date, because they're locked up, right? So there's the prison pipeline issue. The setup, as folks here in the, I've been educated around the African American context, the setup around the drug war on drugs here in the U.S., setting men up, criminalized, all that kind of stuff. And so we've had these, what I would say are continuous onslaughts on the Black identity, against the Black body, against the Black intellect. All of these things have happened over years. And women are the ones who have been left to kind of clean up and figure out what to do. And in that cleaning up and figuring what to do, we've now become either, eternally single women. I'm praying to God I will not stay eternally single, but you see so many Black women who are single.
Yeah.
And we see so many Black women who are dominating, as you're saying, in their relationships because they fear relying on the man.
Yes.
And allowing the man to lead and allowing the man to do certain things. And I personally know, even for myself, there are moments where in certain relationships I've had, I panic. I'm like, oh my God, he's not doing it the way I would like it to be done. Right. Because I'm so used to doing it by myself. If a man comes along, there's a point where I have to kind of reconcile certain things in my head and be like, I have to let go of the masculine, right? Yep. I have to trust that the masculine has stepped to me and he will do what he needs to do. And it's something I continuously talk to my girlfriends about. Even my cousin, just recently, I was telling her, yo, tone that down. Like,
yep.
Right? Tone that shit down. He ain't gonna like all of that.
Yep.
But it is I dare to say that it is a reflex, and it's a poor reflex that we as women default to because of certain traumas and certain histories and the repetition of the abuse that Black identities and families have suffered over the years. So it's a matter of reconditioning and socializing ourselves within the Black context. Yeah. Because one thing I would say really quickly is that if it continues, it becomes a true disservice to boys. Because I maintain, and I will say this to the day I die, a woman cannot ever raise a man. She can help, but she herself does not raise a man. There's a framing around that a lot of people are like, what are you talking about? I come from a single mother home. I respect single mothers. I absolutely do.
It's not ideal.
The feminine. There's a limit to the feminine that has to be granted. The rest has to be granted to the masculine.
That is a fact.
So a couple of things. One, I completely agree. And that goes for both father and mother.
Yes.
Like, it takes both father and mother to raise a child, right? The ideal situations. I saw Rihanna sent me something. Shout out Rihanna. She sent me something on IG where it was saying 70% of Black families, can't remember, 70% of Black families are raising children in two-parent households, and that is up in the last 3 years or something like that. In the last 3 years, there has been an increase to 70% of Black families raising children. Rianne, if you've got the stat, but the point is that you need father and mother to raise a child, right?
Correct.
You need the masculine and the feminine. Why? Because we all are comprised. Well, men are comprised of masculine and feminine, right? And when you have a woman, if you're raising a girl, you still need to put in that masculine component of understanding the world, understanding how to navigate men, and how to understand that certain things cannot be done solely by the feminine. Now, Carrie Ann, you were speaking about that, and I guess I could put it to both of you, but I already know Derek's thought process on this, but I'm going to talk to you, Carrie Ann. about the importance of self-awareness and having the level of introspection to do that letting go, as you put it. You know what I mean? Like letting go of that pseudo masculinity and stuff like that. There's some women out there that can die on that hill. I don't need no man. I could do it all by myself. I could do bad all by myself. You know what I mean? Women will die on that hill that if a man don't do things how I want him, how I think, like you said, a woman's been doing this thing all along. Like I know you personally, you handle your life as it is. And you constantly say, yeah, I tired of handling things all by myself. I tired of how it, you know what I mean? You gotta put gas in your car, you gotta wash the car, you gotta pay the car note, you gotta come home, pay the rent, you gotta clean the house, you gotta cook, and shoot. Even for something as simple as intimacy, you can't fulfill that yourself. So
You got the rules now.
No. I need a body, Derek. I need a body. I need the sweat on a body.
Yeah, don't start carrying. Don't start carrying on that. But the truth of the matter is that I want you both to speak. I know Derek already, so I can let Carrie Ann go first, obviously because she's a guest. But speak to the importance of self-awareness and introspection, and how the self-denial and not dealing and handling certain things within yourself is causing certain detrimental, deleterious effects on not only women, not only men, but also on the relationship and dynamic between men and women.
Absolutely. Since I work on that so much. So there's a lot of value in the ability to be introspective, right? This is something I know you guys both agree with as well. Derek talks about it a lot in his sermons. If not explicitly, it's what you're saying, Derek. It's what you're saying, you know? It's a thread in a lot of your messages. Again, from my stance professionally, you know, in my work as a psychologist, there is a lot of fear and denial that many of us are walking around with. And when we get into relationship, I can't remember the meme. There was a meme I saw somewhere that talked about your relationships, every one of them, intimate or not, are large or small mirrors of various facets of you. Right? And so when it becomes this intimate thing, and I even have to think about this for some of my situations, when you come in contact with a partner, potential partner, you're liking certain things, right? Lord, I'm sexy with this, I'm smell good, that, and can cook and dress well, right? If you think about it, those are also things that you do well. You dress well, you potentially cook well, you clean yourself properly, and you know, all these things. So you resonate on those immediate things. Then you see the things that are kind of like, well, what's going on here? Why does he do that way? Why does she do it that way? I would do it like this. And those are the moments where you have to say to yourself, okay, but why am I? What about that is triggering me?
Yeah.
Right? And what it comes to, and I'm saying this both professionally and personally, given my own personal work around some of these issues, is that you may find that at some point in your past or history, there was an offense, right? Something was an offense to you. And so you're seeing it now in another form in this person, and it's conjuring up something, but you don't necessarily remember what the offense was or why you were offended by it. But now you're seeing this particular aspect in somebody else. And by and large, what you do is pick a fight. You argue, right? You kick out and tell to the left, pack up your box, and to the left. Instead of saying, something you just did or said is annoying me. I'm not quite sure why it is annoying me, but I want to point it out to you so you can help me figure out why it's annoying me. That is a transition point in anybody's relationship.
Definitely.
And it is an aspect of you that you have to work through. That person has reflected something in you that you now need to work through. And a lot of people don't want to work through their kinks. And so that's to your point earlier, Derek, the longevity isn't there because you're pointing out something wrong with me. Absolutely not. It's you. It's all you.
Sounds like lack of accountability to me.
Lack of accountability, fear of accountability is what I usually talk to. Yeah, it's fear of those things. And it's because by and large, we don't have spaces where we can communicate that way. Which one of you has said to your partner, what you just did or said is annoying to me, but I'm going to figure out why it's annoying and I need you to help me process through it? Who says that?
Nobody. Nobody says that.
And that is a deep level of introspection. That's a very mature point of acknowledgement and self-awareness that many of us need to get to.
Yeah, there's a different level of self-actualization there.
Yeah.
To come to that point where you can say, like, I don't know why, but let's work through it together. I don't think we approach it like that. The reality is nobody wants to hear anything about themselves.
No.
That they don't like.
No.
And I am a big advocate for saying things out loud and being honest. Being honest with who you are as a person. And like, shoot, growing up, coming through, I can admit, I had a time in my life. I was out there. I was for the streets.
You in the streets?
I admit that I was in the streets.
He belonged to the streets.
Right? I can admit that. I didn't handle certain situations well. And I can say that. And I can admit certain things about myself, I remember my daughter's mother said to me, "Man, Marshall, man, he's a good fella, man, but you like girls. That's the only problem with you." That was some time ago. You like girls, that's the only thing wrong with you. And I can admit that, yeah, sure, it happens. As you get older, as my principal say, gracefully surrender the things of youth.
Yes.
And so I've grown past that and moved on past that. It's a different phase of life, But the ability to say, I know that I will do X or Y in this particular situation, that is very, very important. That is critical in terms, people always wonder, there you always say they keep you so cool. Because I know who I am. I understand who I am. I understand how I process certain things. I know how I respond. I know the things I like. I know the things I don't like. Right? And a lot of times I know why I don't like them. So I certain things I will say, what? I don't need to attend that because I know how I'm gonna respond. I good.
Right.
So that self-awareness is so critical. And I don't think that a lot of people can really, I don't think a lot of women can really say, this is the situation with me.
Right.
Because they don't want to hear, but look, maybe, you can start to drop 20 pounds. That is offensive.
Yo.
You know what I mean?
That is offensive.
That is offensive to say.
That's offensive.
You can start to drop 20 pounds. Or you can start to not be so argumentative. For example, there's this new thing in the US now with the whole passport thing, where black men have decided, you know what, done with these women in the US, me head to Colombia or whatever, taking out the passport and going, right? And of course, there's a response to that. The women are saying, oh, when they can't handle me, and when it's dusty, and when it's this, and when I broke anyway. So you know what they are not saying? You know what none of those ladies said?
Why?
And further to that, but we aren't masculine, we aren't combative, we don't have bad attitudes. None of them has said
They double down.
Right.
None of them has said that. They have all said they've gone to the insults and all that stuff, but they have not refuted anything that those men have said as the reasons why they're leaving. Because that ability to be self-aware and to look inside and say, you don't even want to hold up the mirror to say, maybe.
Yeah.
You shut that down altogether and you going straight to, it's you.
Right.
You know what I mean? So the ability to be self-aware and to say, well, look, you know me and this is how I operate, that is critical, man.
Well, oh, sorry, Carrie Ann, go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say one last thing to Derek's point about the self-awareness thing. And it can, from experience, it can also be rough for your partner to be told that they're triggering to you, right? That they've activated something.
Indeed.
Because my ex did not like when I said, you know what, something you're doing and saying in this way, this pattern that I recognize is bothering me. And I need to figure out why it's bothering me before anything. Sometimes your partner is not going to take it well. My stance is it's better for me to share with you than to harbor the stuff and then blow up at some point.
Yeah.
You know, so there is that side of it too. And you know how some women have this thing where they would rather just put up with stuff because they don't want to be alone.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. There is a lot of value in the self-awareness, and there's a lot of value in honest communication around your awareness, and just have to be, you know, with grace, as you say, you know, giving grace there, letting it, that the cards play as they may, as long as you are being honest with yourself. I think at the end of the day is the most important, because you spend the most time with yourself.
Oh, yes.
So
just to be a little bad mind though, is it that women stay quiet and put up with things just so they're afraid of being alone, or is that a man thing that we do?
You know what? I don't like. Yeah, I don't like that.
I just feel as though, right, the divorce rates would say completely opposite to what you just said. But anyhow, that's just me poking the bear. But this kind of brings us all the way back around the roundabout to the detriment that social media and dating apps have played in the dating marketplace. Basically, all of what we've talked about tonight, social media amplifies and exaggerates and exasperates in some cases, because shoot, if I got a Instagram account and I got 1,000 pictures on it, and all of it is of me living a free, do as I please, live on my terms life, and you're putting yourself out there to be what? Sexual, ambitious, don't need no man. You're putting all of these things out there. Then when you're in a relationship, you have a good man, and the man say, well, like Derek says, I understand me, I understand what's going on, or you know, even if Carrie Ann say, help me figure out what's going on right now. Or if she comes with, the woman can say, or even if she comes is in herself feeling that way, she has the backative of social media to say, they got, you know, when I put up my posts, I get likes, I get follows, I get comments. So who's you that I live with and love, I'm married to, I got children with? Who's you? You understand? So who is you? So yeah, I just wanted to bring it right back to what we were discussing tonight about social media and dating apps. And dating apps too, to me, dating apps are one of those things where I know people that have found love on apps like Tinder. I know people that, you know, have made it to the next level of their relationship or planning to do so. And other social media platforms. But first, we have to understand a couple of things about social media and these dating apps. Right. When you create these accounts and you are putting information out there, or you're seeing information out there, you're seeing the best of someone, the absolute best of themselves. It is not necessarily an accurate representation of that person. For example, on my social media page, on the average person's social media page, they're not going to say, I can't pay my rent today, I don't know what I can do. The average person is not paying, my car not want pain, I don't know how I can deal with that. Or like, I had a bad day. You know, like the real downs of life. Yeah. And I ain't talking about the downs of life that will garner some sort of social proofing or sympathy. I'm talking about the downs where, like, me putting this out there can just look like I'm a mess, or you know what I mean? Like there are things that happen in life. I'm not talking about death in the family or the loss of a loved one or anything like that. I'm talking about things like, yo, I get fired today.
Yeah, a lot of people put that stuff for, I would call it emotional manipulation.
Yeah, exactly.
So they can get likes. I don't know, Carrie Ann may have a more professional term for it.
She just gave you it, capping.
The trapping.
Oh, the trapping. She just said it, the trapping, not capping. Sorry.
But
she just said it.
yeah, Derek is right. There's
In her professional opinion, it's
in my professional opinion, I like the phrase emotional manipulation, because what it is that people are doing is seeking sympathy.
Yeah.
They're seeking some level of validation and sympathy, right? When they
Victimhood is
do these,
currency.
right, right. When they make some of these posts, not everybody. Don't get me wrong, not everybody.
Of course, it's important to say
Post
that.
something because you want to post something.
Right.
But there are quite a few people. If you watch the trends of posts, I could tell you, just watching certain people's trends, I'm like, this person is either screaming out for help or is really seeking some level of validation, team or something else that's going on. You can tell.
I'm gonna throw the Lizzo example, because she's a person who would post her stuff, and then essentially it's almost like if you're daring people to comment on it negatively.
Yeah, it's the same.
So that you can then have an emotional response to it, right? Folks, it is 9:45 in Barbados and the rest of the Eastern Caribbean. I see Antisocial saying that he's found love on a number of times on Tinder. I'm not sure what kind of love you found. You found it a number of times.
No, I don't think we're talking about the same type of love.
Probably not.
Maybe
carry on though. This is a fascinating discussion.
Thank you.
People are saying that you're giving solid responses and they're thoroughly enjoying it, as Annie C saying that. So kudos to you. We need to have you come back and continue some of this discussion.
Sure.
So we won't see you in the chat as often, but we see you on screen. I really want us to have a discussion, because apparently we have to do the submission thing again, they're saying. So I'd love for you to be a part of that discussion. And also the discussion that I want to have on the role of therapists within relationships. Because given the fact of the therapist we would have seen last time. So I really want us to be able to have that discussion. And you as a psychologist yourself, hopefully you'll be able to weigh in on that and let us know what exactly what is we see on screen, and if people should be engaging that kind of therapy or not. And then to kind of break down, because she was a hot mess, and I really want us to be able to dissect that and let everybody see what's going on, and we can have a discussion about it.
Right. Before we get out of here, Carrie Ann, not only are you an accomplished psychologist and everything, but you have your own podcast.
That's
right.
Let everybody know about that podcast.
Yes, I do. Thank you. It's called At Naked Morning, MAWNIN, because that's how we say morning in Jamaica, as morning. And the podcast space is on Instagram for right now. So we do some live sessions on Instagram, and sometimes when we have larger pools of guests, we feature on Zoom and whatnot. But the space was created by myself and a friend of mine in order to provide opportunity for authentic Caribbean identities to be held. So it's, yes, we're Jamaican, but I actually consider myself a Carib. I love my Caribbean people. I love my Caribbean region. I just happen to be born in Jamaica.
Right.
But it's a space where we feature a number of guests from different parts of the region coming and talking about their businesses, fashion, food, music, relationships, all sorts of stuff. Mental health is a big thing for us because it's something that we neglect a lot in our culture. You can't be sad. You come from an island. People from an island are not sad.
Yeah.
Little do you know. So yes, that's space. So folks can follow us there. There are lots of clips of things that we've already done. So I'd love feedback if anybody from this family or this group wants to check us out on Instagram. It's again at Naked Morning, all one word on Instagram for our Caribbean people.
Right. Thank you very much. And also Antisocial, we are not daring to denigrate your emotional journeys with the love you've found or the many loves you've found on Tinder. Rianne, she said she really enjoyed your opinions, Carrie Ann, personally and
Thank you,
professional.
Rianne.
I mean, she's all right. I mean, no, she's I guess she's somebody you could talk about with life and thing, you know.
Yeah,
Very
man.
fun.
But
I
seriously,
enjoyed the discussion. For
yeah,
real.
Thank you,
seriously,
Derek.
I
seriously,
like the psychology of it all. That's why these topics always fascinate me, you know. So
Yes,
I like to get into these kind of intellectual discussions.
yeah.
absolutely.
And what we had here tonight is just a snippet of what Karen and myself we talk about in our personal conversations. So obviously I'm being facetious when you say she's all right. She's a phenomenal person. She has a lot of insight into life, and she is a very unique woman in that she is willing to take accountability. I can't help myself. Anyhow,
What even is accountability?
yeah. So Derek, take us home, my brother.
Yes, folks, we had a great night. It's been awesome. And thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Neil and I, Carry On, we don't make up the rules. We just make sure you know what they are, right? You can ignore reality all you want, but you cannot. You cannot. Sure, you cannot. Carry On can tell you, you cannot ignore the consequences of ignoring reality. Right? Be the best version of you for you. We are going to see you guys again very soon. We got some shorts coming for you. We got a whole set of shorts to record here right now when we're done. And please remember, it's still COVID, monkeypox, chicken pox, all kind of pox out there. So put on your mask and remember. So be good. We can see y'all guys on Thursday for another riveting discussion.
Peace and love. Peace and love.
Bye, fam.